What's up, Magnetic Men Club? We are back here on another Friday with this live today with the topic of stop dreaming and start doing. I'm Chase with Magnetic Men Club. Got my good friend Jared here.
What's up, guys? Hope you're going to have an awesome weekend. I'm back down here in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm working on my other company this weekend, but chasing that dream, which we're going to talk about today. Just grinding it out, man. That's the name of the game.
So today, the topic is something that we posted about this last week. Jared actually stop imagining what you're going to do and start focusing on kind of who you are right now. And really, it's all about taking action. Like really, you got to get out of your head, stop thinking about it, and really just kind of get into what it is that you want to do and who you want to be. So like stop daydreaming about the person that you want to be, stop daydreaming about all the things that you want to achieve, and just start taking action on it. That's really what makes the biggest difference. Because I think a lot of us have a tendency to sit down and wait for that motivation, wait for that energy to kind of come, that spark of inspiration. And then we just sit around and we just talk ourselves out of it. We always have that doubt and that fear sets in. Obviously, change is hard. It's really hard to change ourselves. It's really hard to deal with change. Your brain doesn't like change. It does everything it can to avoid change because its only objective is to keep you alive. So what do you have to say about the topic?
Yeah, it's funny because, you're in Mexico, so I don't know how the lotto works down there, but I think it's the Powerball or the Mega Millions. I don't know. But it's up to like $825 million.
Yeah.
And you see the lines, you see it in there's a little clip I just watched on the news, and people are buying $20 worth in the pool, and it's just odd that they're going to spend money on a maybe. And don't get me wrong, people do win it. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to be you. Yeah. The odds are it's not going to be any of us. And if it is, God bless you. I mean, I'll be rooting for you. I'll be just as happy for you. But it's the same type of concept, if I just did a video on be, do, have, and we can do a separate live on that. But it's that mentality that you have is when I have more time, when I have more money, when my kids are older, that's, when something happens, then I can do X, then I'll be happy. And that's the I have time, then I can do something, then I'll be happy. And it's this, and I've thought about it too. We've all been in this situation where you wish for a better life or a different life, or you're in a life now that you dreamed of a different life, and this is the one that you have. And I get it. I wanted to be a doctor, and life happened and I pivoted and I ended up getting into other businesses and stuff like that. But we always wonder, the what if I was a doctor, how would that be? But everybody has a crossroads, and whatever road that you took in your life, you have to make that decision that you made the best decision. And it's fine to think about what could have been, but you're on this path, and whatever that path is, now it's up to you to either stay on that path or change paths, but it's up to you to take action. And that's what the video is about, is you can't wish yourself into existence. You can't wish for a new life and say, oh, this would be awesome if I did these things, or this would be awesome if I had my own company. Or the word someday. I hear this all the time in my coaching clients. Someday I'm going to make $1 million. And what they're doing is they're actually putting the liability on their future self. And when you ask them how, I don't know. Someday my future self will figure that out. I'm cool right now. Someday I'm going to quit smoking. Someday I'm going to quit drinking. Someday I'm going to quit doing drugs. I'm just going to put the liability on my future self. I don't know going to happen. I don't care. I feel really good about my decision. So I'm going to go smoke, or I'm going to go drink, or I'm going to do whatever it is I'm doing now to not do anything to help my future self. And that's
just a crutch. Yeah.
It's a crutch. And it is a drop of dopamine. It's just that little hit when you just feel like, you know what? Yeah, someday I'm going to make that $1 million. Fuck, I feel really good. All right, I'm going to go to the bar right now, or I'm going to go do whatever. I'm going to do something that's not going to serve or help that cause at all, but I feel really good in the moment. And we all want to feel good for the most part. It's that little bit of relief. Oh, that feels awesome saying that. Well, wait a minute. Are you going to do the work? No. No.
The thing is, too, is we kind of fool ourselves into thinking that we have put in the work, that we are putting in the work, and that is the work pretty much is like, oh, okay, well, if I just keep imagining that I'm there, if I just keep like telling myself that, I'm going to get there, I'm going to put in the work someday, but we never actually get to that point. Like, I like what Ambrosio said here, don't talk about it, be about it. That's really what it's all about. That's exactly right. Like, you got to be about it. You got to put in the action. You got to be ready to nut up or shut up, pretty much. And that's really what it's all about. Like, that's really where the motivation comes from, is from the action itself.
Right. Those little wins. But you said a mouthful right there. And that's another thing that kind of comes up in my coaching things is when you start challenging that question, I'm like, okay, so let's do a blueprint. How are we going to get you to that someday, that person in the future, that person 5 years, 10 years from you? How are we going to do it? And they're stuck. They're like, what do you mean? That like you said, that person's going to figure it out. And you got to kind of step them back and say, we have to do some work now. We have to make little steps, little changes now. Once you get those little wins, then your current self is liable for that future self. We're really good at passing off shit to everybody else, to include our future self. We're really good at that. And it's really hard, because this is something I've dealt with over the last few years, because I'm getting out of some companies and getting into companies I don't know anything about. Magnetic Men, doing YouTube channels, creating funnels. This is your wheelhouse. I'm entering Chase and Kim's world into this. And it's scary for me because I'm more brick and mortar. I'm more tangible. Like, okay, I can see that company. I can see that piece of real estate. I understand that. This is a whole new world for me. But I always knew in this digital age, and I'm going a little bit off topic, but not really, in this digital age, kind of you gotta change with those old models. I started noticing aren't going to work. Those buy real estate, rent it, and then in 20 years sell it. Yeah, that's a slow way to do it. When I see 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 25-year-olds crushing it at $300,000 a month, and some of these guys I know, and they're dumb as shit, I'm like, all right, they're doing something to help their future self. They put a team together, they have a concept. And so for me, I lean on Chase and Kim for that someday me. That's that version of me someday. We're taking action now, but I'm leaning on them. Like, how do I get to that person? Chase, like, I'll show you. Great. Here's what we need to do. And so this is where that concept of coaching and getting around there, or they may have not been economically to a level you are, but they know something you don't. And if you have to humble yourself down to be like, all right, teach me, old wise man, teach me how to do this. And then you both are able to get to that next level. And I just think in this digital age, you're coming up with a series of videos on, how to make money online. If you guys haven't seen it, we'll probably drop the intro video for Chase in this as well, because this does tie into doing something now. Stop talking about your future self. Do something now. These are very good first steps. Watch that video. Just kind of getting around his ideas and where he came from. And I'll do a video on my expertise on real estate and everything else. But to keep this video at its base is wherever you see yourself 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, I don't care what time frame it is. That's all predicated on today. It's all predicated on what you do right now going forward. The shit you did in the past got you to where you are right now. And if you're 28 watching this and you were 18 and you're exactly where you were, just 10 years older, guess what's going to happen when you're 38? Nothing. You're going to be 10 years older because you're doing the same things and expecting different results. And we want to shift that. We want to change that to make you understand that I can't keep doing the exact same thing I am right now and expecting different results. That's insanity. And so this video, we're going to kind of just focus down on today and stop dreaming, stop wishing, stop hoping, stop praying for a future self that you absolutely have control over right now. And there's a few things that you can do we'll talk about in this video. But honestly, you all know what you need to do. You just don't want to admit it. Everybody knows what they need to do. They just don't want to do it.
Well, see, I remember when I was getting started in entrepreneurship, because the biggest thing is like, obviously nothing is obvious to you when you first start this out. Like you think that, oh, I need to just learn this and then I'll be able to do this. I just need this thing. And then, so like, I remember when I was starting in entrepreneurship, starting to try and actually figure out what business model I was going to do, how I was going to make money online, all that stuff too. And I'm like, oh man, well, I need a website. I need to make sure that I have my bank account set up. I've got to go get my LLC and all that stuff. When in reality, none of that's true. I remember when I first got into my first coaching program for business, the biggest thing was the fact that like there were people out there making money. They didn't have a website. They didn't have a bank account. Like they didn't have their LLC and all that stuff set up, but they just started taking action. They really just jumped into people's inboxes and just started sending them messages until they started to get results. And then those results led to cash. And then that cash led to motivation. That motivation led to more cash. And they just kept going. And you could see them at $100,000 a month. And they still didn't have a freaking website. And so I started to rethink. I went, oh my God, that's absolutely wrong. It's all action-based. Like you just got to get out there and take action, and everything else follows the action. Because the biggest thing too is you tell yourself that, oh, once I hit 100K per month, well, then I'll be happy, and then I'll be able to do this, that, and the other thing or whatever. But none of that's true, because the thing is you're always in the right now. Like we have habits as human beings to overthink this. Like we think that, oh, I just need this thing and then I'll be happy, or I just need this thing and then I'll be happy. Yeah, I just need this kind of success and then I'll be happy. When in reality, you can be happy now. You could be happy with the results you're getting now. You could be happy with what you're learning right now. You just got to get on to your path and purpose and realize what aligns with you, because not every business model is going to be for you. Like a lot of people just aren't comfortable jumping into people's inboxes. A lot of people aren't comfortable going door to door. And like the opportunities have never been more abundant than they are right now. I remember when I first started back in 2011, there were no drag and drop website builders. Like there was like Facebook was still barely kind of taking off. There wasn't as many social media platforms as there are today. Yeah. And really, you can grow on any one channel. You can grow on Facebook and make $100,000 from your Facebook profile easily. I've done it. And you can make $100,000 from 1,000 people, just 1,000 audience on YouTube, just 1,000 subscribers. Like you don't need 100,000 subscribers to make $1 million. You could do it with 1,000 subscribers. You just got to know exactly how that stuff works. But you got to get in there and take action and figure that out and conceptualize it for yourself before it will be obvious.
Yeah. It's not, I'm not going to say it's 100% whoever's watching this, if this is resonating with you on live or in a restream, I'm not going to say it's 100% your fault, because there's so much information. You get blasted every day. Make $10,000 a month, make $5,000 a month. And a lot of those people are going perfect marketing, going at your pain points. You want to make more money? Yeah. You suck at what you hate what you do? Yeah. Well, you can do this and this. Great. You buy the course, you still have to do the work. And I think a lot of people, I've noticed, because even when we started offering for our private coaching and stuff, people love your free content. They do that. But we know, you and I, the free stuff, nobody's going to take action on. It just makes them feel good. They're not going to take action because there's no incentive for them to take action. And a lot of people get paralysis of analysis. So we're going to go back to that for a minute, where there's so much information and they know they have an idea what they want to do. Let's just say maybe you got a 9-to-5 job and it's paying the bills. You got kids, you got a wife. I get all that. We're not saying quit your job, but you wanted to be something else other than you are right now. And that's fine. I get it. I respect that. But what are you doing from 6 to 9 at night? That's your hustle time. That's your time to start creating an opportunity for yourself where you can start making whatever money it is. It could be $500 extra a month, $1,000. It doesn't matter what it is. Start making little wins. Once you start making little wins, then you kind of start, how can I replace my income? All right, I just have to do more of this. So once you get to the point where you're replacing your 9-to-5 income and you can do it, now you have freedom. That's part of this channel is we want to give you guys whatever it is that you want. You want freedom? You want a ton of money? You want both? You want a better dating life? You want to be a gigolo? I mean, not gigolo, but you want to, whatever it is that you want to do, it's whatever's inside of you. You have the tools. You just need to get it pulled out of you. But you don't want to get sucked into that person 10 years from now or 5 years ago. I've seen it. I'm 48 years old. I don't have too many high school friends. I don't want to say they're doing better than me or that, but they're in the exact same position they were 20 years ago.
Same.
One high school friend, he's doing the same job he did in high school, and he's about to retire, and he's all proud of that. And I'm like, you're 48 and you're going to retire on like $30,000 a year. Now, that's fine for him because he's created a lifestyle where that's all he wants. That's fine. But if you want more, if you know in your heart that you can do better and you're not just settling, a lot of people just settle. If you know you're worth more, but you just don't know how to get there, we're going to come out with some amazing content for you guys very soon that you can jump on and start picking an industry that's easy to get into. It's an easier entry to get into, and you can start making little wins for yourself. And that's what we want to provide for you guys in this channel is you just got to create some wins. Once you create some wins, some momentum, you got a little bit of sail in your wins. You're like, shit, you know what? I can do this. I can create all this. And that's where we want you to get. Every one of my coaching clients, it doesn't matter what your problem is. We start with little goals because the little goals lead to the end goal. As long as you realize the goal itself is never your goal. I do this little exercise and we'll leave it live and you guys can do this right now. I want you guys to write down on a piece of paper, not right now, but you can go back to watch this. Give me one goal that you have in your life. And it can't be, I want to lose weight. That's not a goal. That's a wish. I want to lose 20 pounds as a goal. You're attaching an outcome to it, whatever the goal is. Then I want you to write down one word emotional response tied to that goal. So for instance, I want to make $5,000 more a month. If I make $5,000 more a month, I will feel excited, happy, we'll fill in the blank. Then I want you to attach a time frame to that. I want to make it in 6 months. So when I do this with clients, I let them know, I'm like, do you realize the goal is not $5,000 a month? It's the feeling, excitement, satisfied, maybe that feeling of I can do it. That's always the goal. Whenever you have a goal, I don't care what it is, it's the emotion tied to the goal. Now, here's the funny thing. When you put a time frame on it, that's how long you just restricted yourself to reaching that goal.
That's actually one of the major key points that I got from the book Atomic Habits from James Clear was the fact that like once you put a time frame to it, it becomes real. Because the thing is too is we're so good at pushing things off. We're so good at like just continuing on the way that we've been. Like, I mean, I've even sat down some nights and said like, oh, well, tomorrow I'll do this. Today I'm going to keep doing exactly what I've been doing. Today I'm just going to, go watch a whole bunch of shows on HBO and Netflix or whatever. I'll get to it tomorrow. I'll get to it next week. And once I'm there next week, then you get there next week and you start feeling the same way that you were feeling last week. And so you're just like, okay, well, I'll do it next week. And then I'll do it next week. And then I'll do it next week. The thing is when you have a deadline, you crunch. Like you get to it. You're like, okay, there's a deadline on this. I've got to make sure this stuff gets done. That's when you take the most action. And then when you take action on it, you start to figure things out. You start to remove some of the mystery. And then you start to do more. And then you start to realize, oh, I'm more capable than I thought I was. This is easier than I thought it was. And you keep going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Be realistic with your goals. A lot of the times people, I want to make $1 million. Well, how about we just get you to make an extra $500 a month? How would that be? Oh, so you mean to tell me if there's 5 $100 bills at your feet blown in the wind, you wouldn't run to pick it up? I would. Well, then 500 is a lot of money. Don't be so worried about the outcome goal. Worry about the little wins, because once we get those little wins, that goal will happen. It might not happen in your time frame, but you're still better off net 500 a month than you were not having the 500 extra a month. You're still better off. And the thing is, with taking action, it's far better to take the wrong action than no action, because once you're taking action in your life, you can adjust that trajectory. You can say, oh shit, you know what? No, I don't want to do it this way. I want to go this way, but you're still moving forward. A lot of people think success, is just a straight arrow. I'm starting a business and a straight arrow up. You and I both know, and anyone watching this, it's circles, it's up, down, it's back to zero. It's just this crazy line. And that's in everything that you do in your life. Nothing is just a straight up and down. So you're going to have ups and downs. So you can't attach $1 million goal to zero and expect to reach that. You're going to have toes. You're going to have ups and downs. You have to expect that, but you have to appreciate those little wins. Appreciate those little times where, you know what, I am much better off than I was yesterday. And if you can't honestly, go ahead.
Ambrosio here, he had a question. So just on the deadline here. So he's like, you're saying we kind of sabotage or slow down our success because we set out deadlines further away rather than sooner?
So what I was getting at is any goal that you have for yourself, the goal itself isn't the goal. It's always the emotion attached to the goal. So I'm just going to use the example because it makes it easier. I want to lose 20 pounds. Once I reach that goal, once I lose 20 pounds, I will feel fulfilled. Let's just use that as an emotion. I want to lose 20 pounds in 6 months. Okay. So it's great to have that goal. As Chase says, you need to put a time frame to it. But as far as the emotion goes, you've just told yourself fulfilled right now, only in 6 months when that goal happens. The problem with that is I don't care what goal it is. It's always the emotion. I want to win the Boston Marathon. If I win the Boston Marathon, I will feel like a champion, whatever it is. I want to win it next year. Why can't you feel like a champion right now? Why does winning that make you a champion? You're already a champion because you're doing the little steps it takes to get into the Boston Marathon to win possibly the ticket to win. That's any goal. I want to be a millionaire. I want to make $1 million. Once I make $1 million, I'll feel fulfilled. I want to do it in a year. Well, why can't you be fulfilled right now? By taking a little bit of action every day, knowing the end goal fulfillment, it's not the $1 million, because here's what happens in every goal. Once you make the $1 million, you're going to go find another goal. You're always chasing goals. You have to learn to chase and appreciate the emotion, because if you're always chasing goals, you're just chasing a carrot. You'll never have appreciation in your life. You'll never have fulfillment, because the new goal always comes up.
I've seen people stagnate for that reason. Like, I've been in business coaching for probably about 10, 11, 12 years now, since 2011. And I remember when I got into it in 2011, I was helping a lot of different entrepreneurs like get up and running with selling mobile apps for my stepdad's company. Yeah. And I remember a lot of them would buy into this program for $9.97, and they would get in and then they would just sit on it and they wouldn't do anything. And you'd be like, okay, why did you even pay $1,000 to get into this program if you weren't going to do anything with it? Right. And then I got into his company 10 years later, back in 2020, and realized that some of these guys had paid him $70,000 and had never sold an app.
Right.
They just didn't want to lose their credits. Like, it became a sunk cost fallacy at that point for them. And the thing is, too, is like, I see these guys, we just started a whole new coaching program for them with a community and everything built up around it. And I've noticed that same old faces in that program still not going through the courses. I can see on the back end whether they're going through it or not, what they're doing, what they aren't doing. And I've realized that, like, out of 100 people, 3 people will take action.
Right.
And so that's why I started to structure my coaching programs around that. So basically, you can get into my coaching program. You can pay to get into it. It's cool. You can be part of it. Like, that's not a problem. I'm there to help you. I'm there to answer your questions. It's no problem. The courses are there for you. But what I've realized is, like, people will even pay money and still not go through that stuff and still like think that, oh no, well, I need my website first. Oh no, well, I need to make sure that my business plan's in place. Oh no, I need my offer first. And they just won't take action. And they realize, like, you got to realize, like, the actions that you need to take and what you need to do come from the actions that you take. Action leads to action, leads to action, leads to action. Inaction just leads to more inaction. And so if you keep telling yourself that you need this, that you need that, you need the other thing, and you don't celebrate the little wins along the way, you're always miserable. You're always to a point. Like, this is why only 3% of people are successful and 97% of people aren't. That's really what it all comes down to. And I've realized over time that, like, okay, well, I really only want to put my time into the action takers. Like, I really want to put my time and effort into the people that want to take action right now. They really want these results. And that's what coaching is. Mm-hmm. Coaching is here to help you with accountability, to get on the phone with you, get on a call with you and say, okay, what are your goals? What are you trying to do? Who do you want to be? What do we need to do to get you there? And then we just set out that plan for you and you start checking it off. If you don't check it off, like, the action's on you. I can't make you take action. I can't sit there with a whip in your back and say, okay, hey man, it's time. It's time. I can't come yell at you every morning to get out of bed, man. That's on you. And so that's the thing, is I've realized that you really only want to give your time to the action takers. Yeah. And it's hard to identify those action takers when they come through. And like I said, after being in coaching for more than 10 years, that's pretty much what I've surmised from it, is the fact that, like, people overthink it. Like, they think they need this, they think they need that, they don't celebrate their wins, and then they don't even know what they need. I know Ambrogio said something else here. So why do you think that is? Why don't people take action when they have the tools? Are they afraid of being successful or afraid to fail? I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's really subjective to every single person. Really, like, what holds you back and what you think you need comes down to you and what's going on inside your head. Like, what is that conversation you're having inside of your head? What is it that you think that you need? Like, because some people will do things or think they need things to prevent the action, to say, okay, well, you know, this needs to be finished first. This isn't perfect enough yet. They get into that perfection cycle and think that they need all these things before they can actually take action and be successful. Yeah. And so the biggest thing is that, like I said, they're just preventing the action. They're just, because they're scared of it. They're scared of change. Obviously, change is scary. But I can tell you right now, if you can jump in and just start doing it for 10 minutes, you'll probably do it for another 10 minutes. You'll probably do it for another 10 minutes after that. Then you'll start to realize it's not as scary as you thought it was, that you're more capable than you thought you were, and you keep going. And that's where the accountability comes in. That's what the coaching is for.
Right. Yeah. I think another part of that is a lot of people that I noticed, they have a goal, but they attach the goal. Let's use, like, the top of the mountain is their goal. Far away, in 10 years, let's think in 10 years, I'm going to be the CEO of a company. Well, you're far away from that mountain. You're looking, that's easy. I got this. Walking up to the base of that mountain, you see how fucking tall it is. People don't want to do the work. They're like, this is too hard. And what it is their goal is too high in the short term. The goal could be, let's just get to the first summit of this mountain. Maybe it's only 50 foot high. I mean, there's a lot of people that do rock climbing or they go up mountains, and there's little places to rest. They see it as they have to do all of this right now. And then their brain starts kicking in and says, this is too hard. You're going to fail. People are going to laugh at you. You're going to lose your job at whatever it is. This is, again, where coaching helps. Come up with a little, how about just go to the first summit? How about just do that? Oh my God, I made it that far. All right, why don't you come back down and do that again? Just, I did it. Okay, that might take a month. I'm just using this in terms. That next summit's half a mile away. You know what? Next weekend, I'm going to try that. Before you know it, you're at the top of the mountain. But you're taking it in little chunks, little bits, little wins.
And you're happy.
This is why people fail, because the goal, again, the goal itself is never the goal. That's just their thought is the goal. It's the emotions tied to it. So, again, that goal of $1 million at that top of the hill, you're going to have the same excitement, same fulfillment reaching that summit 50 foot up. That's what I'm talking about. The emotion is what you're always chasing. You're chasing that fulfillment or whatever that emotion is tied to you. The goal's always going to change. So you have to appreciate those little moments, know those little wins generate bigger wins, and that's how you move into your goal. You never just attack the goal, because that's how you fail every single time. Hopefully that makes sense. It is people are not so much afraid to succeed, they're afraid to fail. And so one of the questions I always ask is, I can't. Well, what can you do? Like, I can't go up to this girl. Well, what can you do? Well, I could walk by her. Well, it's better than you standing over there leering like a weirdo. Always ask yourself, what can you do in a situation? The moment that you put a limit on yourself, or I can't do something, you limit yourself completely. Switch your language. I can't make $1 million. Well, what can I do? Well, I can start doing this. I can start doing that. Your brain then helps you. Yes. A lot of people, their language, their thoughts are backwards. And this is why these videos I try to push out. It's just a lot of people get pushback on it. It's just because I'm challenging what society told them they have to be. You can be whatever the hell you want to be, but it's up to you.
Right. That's so true too, because I think people have a tendency to see the mountain as bigger than it is, and realizing that every step counts, every milestone that you make counts, and so they think that I got to get to the top of the mountain before I'll be happy. No, You're going to be happy at every single summit. You're going to be happy with every single achievement that you make, but you got to look at it that way. It's just your goal is really big, and so you got to break that goal up into smaller pieces. Yeah. And I mean, you can use a mountain and scaling the mountain and a summit as part of it. But the thing is, even when you get to the top of that mountain, you're going to see another mountain in the horizon. Yeah. And then you're going to want to get there.
That's it.
I have clients who make $50 million every single year, and he's bummed because he's not a billionaire, because all his friends are billionaires. I can tell you right now that the goals just change at every single phase. It doesn't matter how far you get, how successful you are. You need to see yourself as successful, because if you don't see yourself as successful at $50 million a year, because you're not a billionaire yet, there's a problem with that thinking. Right. And you're just it makes you unhappy, and it makes you at dis-ease, because you don't have your own private jet. And it's well, dude, you're driving a Rolls Royce. Why do you care? It doesn't matter. Yeah. And so that's the biggest thing I've seen in every single phase. So here's the thing, whether you're trying to, become a bodybuilder, you're trying to actually get fit, you got to break that up into smaller goals. You got to have a goal of just getting to the gym for 15 minutes every single day. Right. And then go from there. Okay, well, I'll bench, 100 pounds in the next couple weeks. And then I'll get up to 150 pounds within the next 3 months. Then I'll get up to, 400 pounds over the year. whatever it is. Like, you got to break that up into smaller goals. If you have a goal of making money, okay, let's start off with just making $500 extra a month from a side hustle. And then we'll move that into $10K per month. And then we'll move that into $100K per month. And then we'll move that up to $1 million a month. And like I said, you'll be happy at every single phase. Because here's the thing. That's $500 more a month than you had before, just like Jared talked about, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the same thing, whether you're trying to improve your health, whether you're trying to improve your wealth, or whether you're just trying to be happy overall. Because the thing is like, it just leads to a lot of dis-ease, and it leads to a lot of unhappiness if you feel like you have to scale the entire mountain before you can be happy. Now, you can be happy right now. You can be happy with every single phase. You just got to celebrate it and realize that that is an achievement. That's more than you were doing before.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's look at, I mean, there's no secret thing we're saying here. There's no, hey, buy this and we're going to tell you this. Well, it's hard. It's work. There's a lot of ups and downs, but consistency and just never giving up on yourself. I mean, that's really the secret, is just stay consistent in what you're doing and just don't give up on what it is that you want. What would you suggest? Focusing on one goal at a time? For example, I want to improve fitness, looks, dating. Would you suggest going all in on fitness? So I'm assuming maybe you're a younger guy. I don't know how old you are. If you are a younger guy watching this, I did a video on this. Don't even concentrate on women at this age. I would say from 18 until your mid-20s, you should be focusing on fitness and your finances. The women are just going to ruin your life at that age. I'm not saying they're going to do it. God forbid you get them pregnant. Well, now you have 18 years of child support payments, or maybe you got to get married. The problem with that, you're just limited, and you don't have the resources. So my own son's 19, and I tell him, until you get your money right, and that means owning your own house, having a car, having 6 months minimum in a bank account for your incident, like what you need as emergency fund, you should not even be worrying about dating. Once you get to that level, women are everywhere. See, the thing is, people don't understand. They hate when I say this, but high value men who are on their purpose, on their path, they have structure in their life, they're rare. Beautiful women are fucking everywhere. You want to be different. You want to be that guy who has his finances, who looks great, who owns a house, maybe who likes to travel. You can do all that without a woman. So I would suggest that, you said you're almost 30? Okay.
He's almost 30, yeah.
Great. Well, you're still into that role. Get your finances right and get your health right. Those two goals, you should be doing those together. I mean, go to the gym. You don't need to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger to get women, All you really need to do is be in the top 20% of, I don't know where you're from, but in the U.S., 80% of all the people in the U.S. are overweight in some capacity. So all you need to do is get in the top 20%, and you kind of got that unlocked. As far as finances goes, if you want the definition of high value, it's used in the 80s. Kevin Samuels coined this. I still do agree with this. $10,000 a month consistently for the last 3 years. If you can maintain that, about $120,000 a year is 10% of the entire U.S. population. Everyone thinks they make over $100,000 a year. It's just not true. 10% of the population makes right around 10%. 400, 500, a million. Now you're getting into 2%, 1%. Your goal is $10,000 a month. That's your initial goals, $10,000 a month. Any more, great. Most, I think the last time I read it, $38,500 is the average income of most Americans individually. I'm not counting married, individually. So think about that. A lot of people don't think $10,000 a month is a lot of money. That's a lot of money. you can do $1,000 a month. So don't let these Instagram people fool you or driving around in Lamborghinis. They're all rented, or they're not their car at all.
All
These
right, that's true.
It's not their mansion. They probably rented the mansion from the billionaire who's not even there. It's like, sure, give me 10,000. You can. They're 99% of them are fake. They're fake. So don't fall into that where, oh my God, these guys have made it. They probably didn't. They're trying to sell you something. You need to concentrate on your own finances. However, whatever talents that you have, you need to figure out a way to use those talents, and you need to get your body right. Don't even concentrate on women right now. It's just not worth it.
The whole point too, like that I would like to make towards that is that like how you carry yourself is everything. I know we got a video on confidence coming out this next week too, so watch out for that. Yeah. But at the same time, how you carry yourself is everything. So like it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about you. All that matters is what you think about you. So if you think you should be more fit, if you think you should have more money, if you think any of that stuff, obviously if you don't have those things, you're going to feel inadequate. And so really that it comes down to what you want. Do you want to make $10,000 a month? Do you want to make $100,000 a month? Do you want to be physically fit? That's all that really matters, because once you're carrying yourself the right way, that charisma is going to exude from you. And then it really just comes down to how to win friends and influence people, how to deal with people, human psychology, all that kind of stuff too. So I would learn about that stuff. But at the same time, that's really what's going to help you with women. Like you got to be able to carry yourself with confidence. You got to have that charisma to be able to just walk up to somebody and not care what they think, not care how that conversation is going to go, detach yourself from the outcome, and you'll start to get a lot better with those things. So the things that I would focus on first is, definitely go to the gym, start getting fit, start feeling like you're a better person. How you feel, how you look to yourself, and how you feel about it matters more than anything, because you're going to carry yourself differently once you have that confidence. Yeah. You're going to carry yourself differently once you're making the amount of money that you think you should be. And then from there, like I said, just focusing on human psychology and charisma. There's a whole bunch of books on it. We have courses on it and stuff inside of our community. But that's really what it all comes down to, is being able to talk to people, being able to really build yourself up socially. But like I said, you got to focus on your confidence first. And your confidence comes from the way that you look, the style that you have, whether you're okay with it or not. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. All that matters is what you think.
Right. If you need some more one-on-one with this, man, just hit our link down below, book a free consultation. You'll get an hour with me one-on-one. We can talk about this, confidentially, of course. Nothing comes up from that. So feel free to drop that on. We'd love to help. But Chase hit that. I made some mistakes when I was younger, and it cost me. It cost me time. That's the biggest thing that we have is time. If you're a little bit older, trying to retool yourself, well, you're already at a detriment. You don't have as much time. If you're 18, 19, 20, you can make some mistakes because you have a lot more time to adjust and fix. So this is why I think I was looking at our analytics today. They've actually expanded. It's 18 to 44 now. It used to be 18 to 35, but that 40 to or 36 to 44, however they did it, that's expanded out some. I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
But, at 30, you still have some time. You are a man. And what I mean by that is, if you don't have kids right now, into our 50s and 60s, so your clock isn't ticking in that category, but your clock is ticking in all other categories. Get your money right, get your body right, and then go from there. What expanded? What's that mean?
Yeah, can you explain that a little bit more, Ambrosio? But, definitely happy to help you out too, man. We're always happy to help. Anybody has any questions, that's what we're here for. And like I said, I mean, there's really it's not a sales call that you're going to jump on when you get that free breakthrough session. Like, we're not here to sell you on anything.
Yeah, there's a what I was saying is our analytics, when I was doing my shorts and my YouTube long form content, because I'm 48. I guess I had the thought that older men from 40 and up would resonate more with me, but it's not the case. 18 to like 35 is the largest audience I have. 35 into the 45 range is ticking up. But what I was saying is that's recently expanded. It's the 18 to 35 is what I was saying is where my bread and butter is. And it's odd considering I'm 48, but it's really not, because again, there's not a lot of 48-year-olds talking like I do. They're too set in their ways. I love them, don't get me wrong, but a lot of them are too set in their ways, and they don't have enough time to retool themselves, or they think they don't. So they've kind of just, they're in it. You know what I mean? That they're just going to ride it out, wait for retirement. And then this is the whole point of this video, is someday they're going to fall into that trap of someday. And they're going to, sadly, a lot of them are going to go to their graveyard, go to their deathbed with an amazing business idea they never got off the ground, maybe an awesome song, a book they never wrote. The graveyard is the most expensive piece of real estate in the world. That's where most of people just take their dreams and they die along with them. That's sad. I want to die broke and full of stories. That's what I the thing is, Alex Tramosi brought this up, and it's great. He said, we all get a chance at playing poker. And the better you are at poker, that's awesome. But when you die, all the chips go back into the table and you're forgotten about. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, why play it small then? Like, why worry about, does this person like me? Who gives a shit? At the end of the day, we're all going to die. So that's my mindset I have, is I'm going to do the things I'm going to do, because none of us escape death.
Well, the thing is, too, it's like your whole life starts to blend together. Like when you're doing the same thing day in and day out, you're working the same job day in and day out, it makes you miserable, you're not happy, you're doing the same thing every weekend, you're doing the same thing every night. It all just kind of starts to blend together. And so there's no excitement. And so that's the biggest thing, is understanding, like, dude, that vacation to Hawaii, that's a milestone you're going to remember. That vacation to Cabo San Lucas, that's something you're going to remember. When you actually, got to go swimming with the dolphins, swimming with the whales, whatever it was, right? Like, that's the stuff you're going to remember. You want to create as many of those milestones for yourself as you can, because you're never going to remember, Tuesday at the office talking to Becky. You're never going to remember when you're sitting at home mowing your lawn every freaking Saturday like you normally do, like whatever it is that you do day in and day out. You're never going to remember all those things. And so you want to create as many of those milestones for yourself as you can. And really that comes down to, being healthy. You obviously need to be healthy. You need to get on top of your finances so that you can go where you want, when you want, really achieve that ultimate freedom. And ultimate freedom for anybody means you need to have time freedom. You need to have money freedom. You need to have location freedom. If you want to knock out early on a Wednesday and go to Hawaii for the weekend and be there for 2 weeks and stay in whatever hotel you want, be able to jump around, go do activities while you're there, that's the stuff you're going to remember. And that's the stuff that makes your life feel full.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. It all just starts with that step. And I know it sounds corny and gay, but you just have to take those little steps to whatever that goal is that you want, and appreciate the ride, man. We're all in the same ride. Some of us are further ahead. Some of us are lucky in life. They have rich parents. Daddy gave them a business. You won the lotto. That's none of us. So let's take those people out of the equation. We're still here. So it's up to you as men and women watching this. You're the only person that can control your life. Nobody else can. Now, there's people in your life that you give control to, and this is where, you hear these stories of, I was with this person forever. I'm like, well, what the fuck were you with them then? Oh, well, part of that's your fault. Like, you don't get any sympathy from me. Like, you did this.
It's true, yeah.
Now you've changed this. Great. Now this is the new you. And that's what I want people to understand, is you don't get to bitch about your wife or your boyfriend keeping you in the situation you are. Football player, but she got pregnant at 18 and that's your damn fault. This is my whole point of don't date. Don't even date. So you don't get that chance to bitch about your significant other and where you are. You're where you are because of the decisions you made, not them.
It's true. It takes extreme ownership. You got to own up to it. You got to realize that the sooner you start taking ownership, the sooner you're going to get in control. Because if you're pushing ownership off to everybody else and you're pointing outwards for every single thing, like, that's not ownership. That's not control. That's not how you control your life. That's not real power. If you want to take your power back, you got to take ownership. You got to say everything is my fault. Everything is in my control. I could have done anything at any point. I just didn't do it. And so realizing once you can start taking that ownership and see it for that, like, there's a really good book on that. It's called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. And that's exactly what he talks about. And like, he was a Navy SEAL. Like, he was actually the commanding officer for the Navy SEAls. And that's what he talks about. Is like, anybody who didn't take ownership, he knew those people weren't going to be successful. He knew that you had to have extreme ownership and that anything that his team did was his fault. And so as long as he was in control, he knew that he had to take ownership of every single situation. Yeah. And that's really where it comes from. Once you take ownership, you get in control, you take your power back, you can start to form your life into what you want it to be.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want, I got a really good story about this because it perfectly ties into this.
Yeah, let's go.
You guys see on some of my social media, my girlfriend, I don't post her a lot just for no other reason. Like, I just like to keep my personal life as personal as possible. But almost a year ago, a little bit longer, she completely transformed her entire life. And it does fall into this. When I first met her, give you the brief version, she was just kind of not in the relationship she was in, but all of her family were in a different state. And I did not understand. I'm like, your support network is there. Why aren't you? Well, this excuse, like this and that and this. And I just brought up to her, in so many words, I brought up to her, like, that's where you need to go. Like, if you're trying to transform your life, you need to go to where your people are, your parents, your brothers, all this stuff. That's where you need to go. She has, 2 kids. She had a business up here. I said, burn it all. Burn fucking Rome down to the ground. Get down there. And she did. I'm so proud of her because at this point, she's got her own place already. This is a year. It took her less than a year to get her own place. But I'm saying to this day, she's already $120,000 this year doing the same thing she did up here. But then she got serious because
that's awesome. Yeah.
Because my whole goal with her was like, I'm not helping you. Eventually, if we grow that way, then yes, but I'm not helping you in this. You got yourself into this situation. I know you can get yourself out. And she did. And literally, she's probably on track about 120,000 this year or very soon after that, doing what she does. Again, single mom, 2 kids, got her own place, completely retooled herself. And it took her literally less than a year. We're over the year now, but you can completely change. But her first step was packing her shit and going. And that, to me, she was probably super scared. She's like, what the hell's going on doing? But in her heart, she knew where she was not going to get any better. Nothing was going to change with that. So she knew she had to make the change. And this, guys watching this, and women, you have to make the change. Nobody can do it for you. Yes, it might suck. Yes, you might feel like you're going backwards. She actually has to stay in her parents' house for about 4 or 5 months so she could save up money. Do you think that she felt like she was going backwards in life? Bet your ass. But that going backwards, I told her, is like a slingshot. You pulled it back, and then when you let go, you just went completely miles ahead than you ever were. So you have to go backwards in life sometimes. Humble yourself to enjoy that ride. Humble yourself to be like, you know what? Shit, I got to do this. Maybe it's selling a car you can't afford. Maybe if this is something simple, maybe it's selling a house that you bought. It's too big for you. You can't afford it. You need to go backwards, retool yourself only to propel you forward.
And that's been there. Yeah, for sure. I've had similar situations with that for sure.
Yeah. And I've had to do the same thing in my life as well. But that's just, you have to humble yourself, especially when you're doing new goals and you have a new blueprint or a new vision for your life. You have to humble yourself enough to know that you might need people to help you get to that journey. And, in her case, she absolutely needed her parents for a while. But again, that slingshot, she had to go backwards, and boom, when she let go, she's making more money, guys, than most of you out there. I promise you she is. And I'm not saying it because she's better than you. I'm saying it's because she swallowed her pride, retooled her life completely, and this is where she can get better on her. So you guys have it. She's no smarter than you guys. She's nothing like that, but she just had the balls to transform her life. So whatever goal that you have, I promise you, take little chunks at it. Take little steps. Enjoy your wins. You will get there. Don't worry about the end goal. That will happen. Worry about the little steps on the way.
That speaks to me because, that's one of the big things when I moved to Cabo, and I realized that I was going to have to live with my parents for a little while when we first got here, and I would have to, kind of rebuild myself into something else because, I had just quit my job at the IRS. We were making maybe $36,000 a year there. And I remember my first year when I got to Cabo, we got over 100K easily within a year. And so that was the big thing, is being able to take that step back. One thing that really inspired me was something that Andy Frisella said. And he said that, because I see a lot of entrepreneurs, they're scared to do things because they don't want to take those steps back. They don't want to move back in with mom and dad. They don't want to have to go back and work retail for a year to try and build themselves back up. And so what he said was, you're afraid to go back to work in retail. I'm not afraid to work in retail. I'm not afraid to take a step back to try and reposition myself to be able to, step up again and get back to where I was.
Right. Yeah. No, and I 100% agree. If shit didn't work for me, I know how to fix stuff. I got no problem going back and jumping on a crew and you know what I mean? I hate it. It would suck. I would feel defeated, but at the end of the day, you still have to make money. You still have to be productive. You can't sit there and cry and lick your wounds. You got to keep moving. So I'm glad that spoke to you because, a lot of people think that they're failing by doing that. You're not. You're dumping off the garbage you didn't need, picking up new skill. Okay, your parents had to help you. Who cares? That's what they're there for. My daughter, she's 22. She still lives with me. If at 35, if she had to come back for whatever reason, I got her. She knows that. That's our job. So you're not a burden to your parent. That's your job. My point is, you have to unpack the bullshit and the ego in yourself to realize, okay, I'm over leveraged here for what I want to do. I need to start getting rid of some of this stuff, getting back to the basics. That's why I wrote, I think a video is coming out, but my advice to young men out there, I came up with 6 hardcore things that you need to do to level yourself up. And that was part of it. Just get your ego out of the way. Just humble yourself.
Though, I would still be working at the IRS if that didn't change. If I didn't actually get the courage to move up and do that, I'd still be working at the IRS. I'd still be miserable doing what I was doing. She would
still be in her situation. I'm not saying because of me, but I know she even says that she would be still in her situation if I didn't kick her ass into going where she already knew where she had to go. I already know that. So sometimes you do need a kick in the ass, you're making no sense. And that's where coaching does help. I've helped so many men and women just you're making no sense. And they just need to hear a stranger telling them that, what the hell? This guy, yeah, you make no sense. This is what we need to do. And then they can go from there because they're living in their own ego. And when a complete stranger trashes their ego, they're like, shit, I just paid for this too.
Well, you're not going to challenge yourself. That's the thing. Yeah. It's you're sitting in your head, your ego's in the way, and you're sitting here thinking everything that you think is what it is. and you're trying to validate it. You're trying to get everybody else to validate it for you. Your friends are going to validate you. They're your friends. Obviously, they're not going to sit and tell you that you're wrong unless they're good friends. If they're good friends, they're going to tell you that you're wrong. But that's really what a coach does. They're going to tell you, like, no, you need to stop thinking like that. If you stop thinking like that, they challenge you. They challenge your thoughts. And so that you start to rethink it. And you go, okay, well, yeah, you make a good point. Maybe I just need to, like, no, this is what you're going to do. Tomorrow, by next week, you're going to go post in the community right now saying that you're going to go do it. Like I've seen people struggle to post videos to YouTube. Okay, we'll go post in the group right now saying what your topic is and what you're going to post about. And you're going to post that video on Wednesday. If you don't post that video on Wednesday, we're going to call you out.
Yep.
That's what it's all about. That's the accountability that we're looking for here.
It is. No, this is a pretty good one today. I hope people took a lot away from it. Again, you can always book a free call with us. It doesn't have to be with me. Chase is available if you prefer him. Just put in the comments or in the comment section on the website. But we're here for you guys, and I had fun as always. These lives are fun, and we're cranking up. I think Chase, you said Tuesdays you're dropping special videos on the business side.
Exactly.
Of Magnetic Men's Club. I'm still dropping 2 videos a week on the other side of our business, which is more of the relationship, dating, mindset side. So we're just expanding this a little bit, and pretty soon I got something a little bit extra. We're going to have probably another video being dropped. Our goal is to probably drop a video a day for a while. Why not?
Exactly. That's what it is. You got to put more hooks out there, right? So that's exactly, we're trying to bring this audience in here so we can really help people and really make an impact. And so I'll be talking about, the 5 different ways that I've used to make money from YouTube, even with a small audience. I'll be talking about each one of my business recommendations from my most recent video on Wednesday. If you go check that out, that's under our video section too. I'll drop a link here once we're done with this live here too. But I'll be talking about each one of those things, breaking each one down, like how to become a freelancer, how to make money from affiliate marketing, how to start your own service arbitrage business and make passive income. So you're not sitting on the beach with a laptop working all day. You're sitting on the beach, enjoying a drink, still making that money. And that's really what it's all about, is building those marketing systems out and being able to actually do that yourself. We have courses and stuff going live inside of our course community. So if you guys want to get in there, let's chat. Let's talk. Tell us what you guys want to learn. Let us know. We're happy to make content about it. Thanks, guys. We want to respect your time. We're coming up on the top of the hour here.
Have a good weekend, guys, and enjoy it. And definitely talk to you guys later. Appreciate your time.
We'll see you guys next Friday. Thanks, guys.